working and playing with toughness, finishing their blocks. A lot of guys that just, again, playing their first significant football, and thought the moment was not too big for them. Thought they handled what we felt was a good defense, and overall just really proud of that group.
Got to talk about your quarterback, Tyler Shuck. He made some good decisions tonight for his first real start, and a few things to work on too. Talk about him.
Well, I think you hit it on the head right there. He did some really good things, and I'm sure he's got he's thinking about a couple he'd like to have back right now. The one interception, and just going through his progression and working all the way through to the open back, and then you see some of those other deep shots that he took were really good throws, gave the receivers a chance, and the receivers just did a great job coming down with the ball. Also, just a really good command of the offense as well. Just every signal, every call, adjustments, protections at the line of scrimmage, decisions. When he did keep the ball and when he handed it off, for the most part, were on point. So I thought Tyler did a really good job tonight.
He has weapons around him. One that picked up right where he left off last year, C.J. Verdell, running just as hard. And again, behind that offensive line, I thought he was a bright spot for you again.
He was. C.J. rushing for over 100 yards. Sometimes we take that for granted, but I guess the outside world does. We don't. We know C.J. is a great player and feel he's one of the best in the country. He ran hard. Really got behind his pads as the game went on and started to really feel just back at home, started feeling how and picking up where he left off in terms of just feeling where the blocks are, where the push is, how to set runs up like he's always done here. And then when he was running really hard and breaking tackles and getting contact +2, all that stuff is critically important for down and distance situations.
You have a long list of tight ends, some really good ones, and we've seen a lot of them perform. But DJ Johnson, a nice surprise tonight.
Sure was. Some guys just weren't available, and DJ was, and DJ stepped up, did it in the run game, did it in the pass game, did it in protection as well. We asked a lot of a guy that was playing defense a year ago, had a pretty significant injury in the summertime, and just kept chopping wood and kept finding ways to just find work, learn the system, get healthy. And then it showed up tonight with not only with a touchdown, but with some other really significant, important plays.
Does it take a game like this, the first game of the season, to begin to see some of those backups, some of those guys you're going to need to be in rotation?
You probably saw the offensive line, the way we rotated those guys. And you saw it all over the field tonight. You saw a lot of guys, even if it was just a couple snaps, but just about everybody got some playing time. We've been practicing like that. This is a different year, and being a different year, we're going to have to be ready for whatever comes our way, whatever's thrown at us. So that's what we told the players in there. Told them really proud of them. I know our team, and our team, they're not happy unless they completely and utterly dominate an opponent. And I want to make sure that they knew that we're super proud of them, excited for them, because, again, they haven't played in such a long time. And when you win a football game, winning is hard. And to be able to just bring it all together like they did in the second half, it's a great start. It's a great start to the year. And the best part about it, there's so many things to get better at. You could coach it hard. You can improve. You could bring your hardest and toughest coaching at this team, knowing that they're going to take it and find a way to get better.
Final question for me, Coach. You had 3 new coaches, offensive coordinator, cornerbacks coach, and the communication tonight was surprisingly smooth. Didn't really notice any glitches in your team and your staff communicating with each other during the game.
Those guys are pros. I firmly believe I'm blessed with the best staff in the country, as not only as professionals, they're elite teachers, but they're also elite human beings. And when they grind as hard as they do, and they want it just as badly for the players as anything else, it's fun to be around. It's a really unique and very efficient, productive operation, and we feel that we could tighten it up and get even better as well. So, and we plan on doing that.
Coach, I appreciate your time with me. I know you got a lot of folks that want to ask you questions. We'll let you go to them. And again, congratulations on your win tonight.
Thank you, Darren. Appreciate you.
All right, let's start with everybody else. Let's go to James Scripia, the Oregonian.
Mario, Tyler really ran well. How much of that was by design, particularly in the second half? And what were you thinking on that 15-yard run that he had where he avoided falling down, and then 2 plays later scores. I mean, that was a really pivotal play on that drive.
Well, we've always known he's a really good athlete, and we've always wanted to run the quarterback, and in this offense, there are going to be some opportunities. It's not something we'll do every single week, but when people start squeezing us like Stanford was doing and playing at post safety and a lot of man coverage, sometimes the opportunities were there. Sometimes it was called, and honestly, sometimes he made things happen, and that's part of his progression as well. When things aren't there, take the ball, tuck it, and run. So just all in all, but very pleased with his athleticism and finding ways to. I know he stumbled one time. That part didn't look too athletic, but aside from that, very athletic and productive in the way he ran the football.
Matt Preem, 247 Sports. Matt, you got to unmute yourself.
Most rushing yards against Stanford since 2018 for any opponent for them. Yet you said that there's a lot of room for improvement for your offense. What does it say about the potential of what this unit could become once you kind of iron that out?
Well, these guys have a lot of pride, and I know that they're going to watch some things on tape and say, "Wow, we could get a whole lot better." So right now we're in the mindset of it's great to have a win against an opponent like Stanford, especially after such a long time, and especially with so many new starters and some of the injuries we've had. And then at the same time, the culture is gonna make these guys stay up at night a little bit and say, we left a lot of meat on the bone. We left some stuff on the table that we, aren't going to be as fortunate if we leave that again going forward. So the competitor and the the guys that want to be perfectionists, they're gonna take this game, and they're gonna be certainly fired up about the win, but they're also gonna want to improve. And so it says that this group just wants to get better, and we need to.
Tyson Alger, The Athletic.
Your guys' last touchdown drive, it starts with Tyler nearly throwing a pick, but then you guys regroup and you go, it's like 9 plays, 76 yards, and that's really what kind of iced the game there. Is that something is that a type of drive that did you learn anything from that, especially week 1 here?
Well, I mean, I thought we had some really good drives today, and actually killed ourselves on one drive with an unforced error. But I mean, we're going to play aggressive. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, why are you throwing the ball on first down? So, why? Because it's a good play, and we should have a productive result. And it wasn't. It was almost picked off, but yet the second play came back, trusted our guys, got behind the O-line, and, knocked some people back and made some chunk yardage. So, that's the type of offense. Credit to Coach Moorhead, the rest of the offensive staff, for putting together a great game plan and for really just grinding at it and getting our guys in tune with not making many mental mistakes. We had a couple on the corner fires, and to some of those nub sets that we had. But aside from that, just, again, good work.
Ashley Young, NBC Sports Northwest.
Coach Cristobal, your thoughts on Noah Sewell tonight and his debut?
Well, I mean, it's what we expected: physical, downhill, knocking people back. He's just scratching the surface. He's going to be as good as it gets. He really is. And we expect him and Justin Flo and Jackson LeDuc, those young guys, that trio right there is going to be something special in college football, for as long as they're playing college football. But back to Noah, yep, special guy, puts in time, puts in the work, and certainly made some really big plays today on defense. And his presence was felt, strong.
Ryan Thorburn, Register Guard.
Mario, what was it like to coach in an empty stadium that is usually an atmosphere that's second to none?
Well, it was different. It really was. It was strange at first. I don't know if, we try to train our team all camp long. Hey, you got to be able to deal with it and bring your own juice, but it's different. It is, I feel like I see you guys more than I've seen any of our fans. I should get cutouts of every single one of you and put them in the stadium, starting with James, I think. So it certainly, I think our guys had to adjust, but credit to, again, the administration and the resources provided to provide that scoreboard. That thing was awesome. To the Autzen faithful, the Oregon Duck faithful, man, we missed you guys like crazy, but we felt you from far away. And I hope we made you proud tonight. And, one day we'll all be back in there.
Eric Scopel, 247 Sports.
Had DJ showed signs of that throughout camp? And I guess how much run did he get with the first team? And how many tight ends did you even have available tonight?
DJ has been working first and second team for a long time now. And yeah, he's shown out. You saw that. That's a 270-pound jumbo athlete, and he's fast, and he has good hands, and he's a good blocker, and he's conscientious, and he's tough. He's got all the makings of a great one. So, we had a couple guys that warmed up, and some looked good and some didn't look so good. So, but we went with what was available, and, it worked out well, and hopefully improve from there.
Heather Dinich.
I was wondering, I realize you've only played 4 quarters of football so far, and it's a weird year, but you said you know your team and talked about their perfectionists. What's your gut feeling as to how good you guys can be based on your knowledge of what you've seen?
Oh, I don't know. That's kind of a tough prediction. How good can we be? We can be really good. We could be an excellent football team, and I feel confident that we're going to get there. And I feel confident that these guys will wake up and be really eager to get right back at it. The processes that we have in place are built to provide feedback, to provide the right type of correction, right? Critique as opposed to criticism, things that come with teaching moments. And I bet if I checked my phone now, that's what I'd find. I'd find like 17 questions on, hey, on this particular play, coach, what could I have done? Blah, blah, blah. So, and that's the expectation. It's been competitive. It's been really competitive in camp. And I think that has nurtured that type of DNA and environment as well.
AJ Jacobson, Rivals.
Coach, it seemed like in the first half, it was trouble finding room to run in the middle of the defensive line for Stanford. But that second half, starting with that drive right out of halftime, you guys were really to start able to go downhill on them. What were the adjustments you guys made to make that possible?
Sure. I think it was a couple of things. A couple of times in the run game, we got caught with a corner fire that we should have made an adjustment to at the line of scrimmage, and we missed it. Another one, a field, when we say fire, just a blitz of pressure. And we had a similar situation with pressure from the field and a linebacker plug that involved like a stunt up front that really put the center and the play side guard in a pinch. So they got penetration, and it so it looked ugly. It looked like we got knocked back pretty good, and we weren't finding much room in there. But the eyes of Coach Mastro, Coach Mirabal, Coach Moorhead, those 3 guys working together, felt that if we stuck to our plan and just found ourselves making the right calls, the right adjustments, the right formations, we could get back in the groove and get downhill. So a combination of all those things, and then the O-line just feeling comfortable and working together and then coming off the ball. And that's where they did a better job of making contact and running their feet through contact, which in games like this, it's critical, when you start pounding the ball.
Time for 2 more. James Scarpia, the Oregonian.
Mario, kind of a natural follow-up to that. How much of the second half in particular in the run game was by design? And that I think you guys went after Keck a lot more, almost I think on like 3 out of 4 plays. CJ had runs of like 7 and 9 yards. How much of it was by design to attack him in particular, since he was a backup and inexperienced, and their backup corners because they were also inexperienced?
No, we didn't game plan any particular player tonight from a personnel standpoint. More from a schematic standpoint, we felt there were some things there that we could take advantage of, but we didn't. We felt like we analyzed those matchups early in the week and talk about whether it's schematic or whether it's from a personnel standpoint, and felt we saw something schematically that we could hit, and we did, but it wasn't personnel driven.
Last question goes to Matt Preem, 247 Sports.
Your young guys along the defensive line, seemed like a lot of those guys made some plays. And what was the adjustment you guys made between the first and second quarter? Because it seemed like at that point their run game really slowed down.
Their offensive line is a good offensive line. Those guys played together last year. Then they got banged up. I think 4 of them are returners. Certainly, know the tackle real well as a guy I recruited before. So, number one, credit to them. They've always been good at running the football. They have really good running backs, and they mix it up well with the play action, catch you losing your eye discipline. They get you for big plays. Adjustment-wise, number one, we started striking blockers, getting our hands on blockers, being able to press, shed blockers, and then get to the football. our tackling wasn't as good as we expected to be. We're going to improve that. We need to improve that. And some of those backs, they bounced off some of our tackles. So, but all in all, just striking blockers and the art of block destruction is something we spend an enormous amount of time on. It showed up better as in the second quarter than it did, early on.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time. Congrats on the win.
Okay, guys. Appreciate you guys. Go Ducks.